Welcome to Warblog. Don't know what I'm going to play. I've done nothing this weekend on games or anything. So, and I'm gonna confess I had a pretty poor weekend, and I'm now actually just going into the resting position. And to be quite honest, I am looking forward to this. It's some rest and relaxation, and this is going to do it. The question is, what do I play? I mean, this one looks quite good. Looks like there's lots of counters, a mix of counters. Let's have a look at this. Oh, I remember this. So, I presume the brown counters are trying to take out the black counters, and these are just sort of. The thing is, I don't want to play something with Jordan in it. This is interesting, but that would take a long time because it's massive. What about this? Right. Interesting. I'm just sort of looking at the balance of counters, really. I mean, I suppose Syrian Arab army pushes into eastern Daraa against Hayat Tahrir Sham territory. This sounds as though this is what's happening now. I'm going to play this one. Enough, the right balance of counters, I think. I mean, what is this? Is it like this? Is that what the front line's actually all about? Or are these isolated pockets? Well, it looks as though it's amazing how things are when you've not played them or you don't know what's going on. I mean, it just looks like a map. But presumably we've got to take that, sort of, I mean, these objectives, obviously, and let's face it, all of this. So what we really need to do is to end up, in theory, like that. Well, having taken everything. So we only really need to do that. So we're sort of pushing this way with a little bit in there, but we're not pushing that way. Right. Okay. How easy is it going to be? What have we got? Well, we got big armoured units with artillery there. Motorised. Some artillery there. Massive stack there. We could just march that in, couldn't we, really? So what we're going to do, it's a big stack there. I mean, why are they having such a big bad time of it? I guess there's these sort of big stacks here. Is there anything that's going to be a problem? We've got rockets there. Lots of irregulars there. I want to sort of get a definite game plan. I don't want to just sort of just start charging everything forward. So I think I mean, there's a big open area there. So let's just try and figure this out. So we've got this big stack here that needs to go somewhere. We've got tracks which will help us get there faster, and or road network, so we could probably scoot that way quickly, or try and come down here, get onto this road network. Or we could just pile straight down here, probably wouldn't make any difference. But what do we want to do? These areas here are probably going to be quite easy to take out. So this line here is probably not going to be too difficult. Let's use red. So this line is probably not going to be too difficult to push back. Here I don't think we're going to have any difficulty at all. So do we want to push that way? I mean, we might want to see. What I want to do is actually figure a plan. You know, that's what I want to do. I want to sort of figure out what I'm going to do. So first thing I really have to do is define the fronts, I think. Because I think these might be quite vulnerable units, but they're not that vulnerable because they're not stacked up. So if we sort of say that this group here is sort of on its own, and then this group here is, say, a separate group, we can then define, say, for example, our lines, our front lines. So we obviously got a front line there, but do we want to sort of, so obviously we've got a front, we're going to have a front line in some capacity along there. So the question is, what do we do with this section here? And I think it's a good question. I love the way this yellow shows up against the yellow. You don't expect it to. I don't expect it to. Yellow's my favourite colour now, I think. Every time I do the drawing tool, I always curse myself that I have got only these stupid colours. I keep thinking, well, I'm going to get some new ones because it wouldn't take me that long to add some new ones. But the thing is, I want to sort of define some kind of front line and how those front lines are going to be created. Because I think we've got to have some kind of definite front line there and there. So what are these units going to, how are they going to achieve that? Oh, it's complicated. It is complicated. It's complicated for a few reasons. A, because of this sort of the spread of these units, and B, because I've not really got a sense for how much resistance or power the HTS have. And what I don't want to do is just start moving the units forward. I really don't like it when people play like that. You see them, they get the game and it's like just marching things forward. You know, I'd rather march things backwards a bit, create some kind of definite structure and then start using it. But let's just reload and start this mapping thing again. So, mapping, my favourite thing. Let's use the yellow one. Right. So what are these units going to do? See, I think what we want to do in the first instance is hold everything. I think this is my game plan. For the first turn, I'm going to hold everything apart from these units here, which are basically going to come down as far as they can in this direction. And these. Now, where do I want to put them? Now, there's a lot of heavy stuff going on over here. I mean, that's going to be slightly easy, but I think there's 2 artillery and a bunch of tanks. There's 1 artillery and a bunch of tanks, so that's really heavy stuff. So where do we want that? I mean, what I could do, see, what I'm thinking is moving them down here along the road taking that and going along this road and down there. So what we've got in this game plan is a multifold conscious decision to follow a specific strategy. Now this is the long term, because I'm obviously not going to do that in one turn, but that's what I'm going to try and do. So this group is going to come down this road, but that's not going to offer any resistance. But with the road, we should be able to follow up quite quickly. Now if that's what's going to happen, then these units, in theory, should sort of shuffle this way slightly. I'm not going to do it just yet because I want to sort of keep that front line, or do I? So I'm going to shuffle those slightly to form that line there without advancing too readily. So I'm not going to try anything adventurous. These guys are obviously going to shuffle just slightly forward, but to keep that line there. So what we'll end up with is wherever these get, there will be a line, maybe there, or hopefully about there. So we'll have these ones forming up this line, these ones forming up that line, these ones forming up almost a line immediately in front of them, there, like that, and these units obviously trying to form up that line. These are the only ones that are going to be coming forward with in any earnest sort of rate. These guys are going to keep their line. Everyone else is going to keep their lines. But what do we want to do with these? Because we want to sort of do the same thing, but we want to, because that's a fortification, isn't it? Under there. Army base. But we don't have anything to fear. So basically what we'll do, we'll just reorganize these so that they're sort of stacked up so they can't be attacked, but without advancing. Yeah, I don't know about these. So we've got the fort, the town, but what's under there? Nothing. I mean, there's no point in being there. There's no strategic point, but we know that we've got that sort of line, so we really want to maintain it perhaps. But maybe what I can do with these is to form that line and then to extend it a little bit this way. So if I can split that up into two, I will, but if there's only three, I'll have to leave them as they are. If there's four, I'll put two there and two there. These ones will have to stay there. And with these, I might be able to basically, I'm going to keep all this sort of as it is. So my main game plan is to move these down, shuffle these marginally in those sort of directions, with this trying to come down this way. But it probably won't get there in the turn. So what can they do? Oh, look at that. That is just massive. Right, so we've got four in there. So that's that game plan there. Right, I think that maintains my strategy. splitting things up a bit. They're all in good stacks, so they're not going to be surprised. Here, massive stack. And it's all mobile apart from the artillery. So I'm going to have one little task force that's going to try and come down here as far as possible. Okay, I think that is in keeping with my strategy. I don't want to engage at the moment, specifically. Those are going to come forward. These are pretty much going to... I mean, we've got so many in there. I think I can form a big line across here. That's a nice way of doing it. Now, I'm happy with the way this is working, but clearly I could have done it differently. But the fact that I could have done it differently is what pleases me with regards to the fact that I did it this way. Because what I could have done maybe was push these down here and then use some of these to come down here. But that's too optimizing. You know, this is my attack force and this is just a line of forces like an anvil, and this is the hammer, more to the point type thing, depending on which way you want to look at it. But obviously I can attack that, but similarly I'm representing the same sort of situation here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So let's just... This is quite bizarre, really. I mean, look at that nice big line there. That's interesting. Because this was a big stack and that was a little one, but I just saw them as two and thought they were sort of fairly equal. So obviously we can attack here. I mean, I'm gonna have to do them all. Not because I have to, but if I want any chance of moving them, what I should have done is done the attack and then the move. I just want to play it a little more methodically. 31 versus that was only 10. How did they get that much? Oh, I didn't realise that. Look at that. They were in a fort. Oh, look at that. Hmm. I don't want to be advancing too much because my game plan was not to advance like that. So that's that as a move. Got some air power. Do I want to attack anything? Let's take these rockets out. 2.2, 2.2, that was nice. And that's it. I'm quite happy with that. So let's look at it from the other point of view. So they've got, obviously, their line. Like that. And they want to protect that. There are no vulnerable targets along that line. They've got another line here, which has just been squished a bit, and they've just lost a fort. Now, obviously, the objectives are there, there, and there, so they could probably give that up. But how do they want to defend this? There's no weak targets anywhere. So the best thing they can really hope for is to start using their rockets. So where are their rockets? Well, obviously they've got two there which we've hit once. But I don't think they've got rockets anywhere else. The rockets are pretty much the only things that are going to hurt the Syrians. And they've only got 2 of them. And they've already been hit. Let's have a quick look at these stacks. So that's a nice big stack, but there's nothing interesting in there. Reasonable stack, reasonable stack. So basically there is no rockets anywhere apart from there. That's the only stack. So they're basically going to lose. So it's not a very balanced game at all, really. I mean, how can they possibly gain some face in this scenario? What they do have in their favour is the complex front line. But, you know, there's 6 in there, so they'd have to get 6 units around that. We've got a force here that could possibly do something. Possibly. They could possibly attack this stack here. But, you know, the thing is, what I'm saying is, we can use this stack, and we could end up with an assault somewhere at 1-to-1 odds. You know, those are the odds that we're looking at. If we can get to 1-to-1, that's as good as it's going to get. And what we're hoping is if in some way they can split them up. You know, if we could get a DR on one of these and they go in different directions, then we can jump on one of them. But that, you know, but you see, the thing that makes that more possible is this extended, convoluted front line. So what we really want to doing is sort of pushing to extend the front line to make it more porous. For example, like pushing in this direction. The other thing that would be good to do would be to position the air defense units wherever they are. I'm sure we've got some somewhere around the rockets. Let's look for the air defense units. We've got some there. One there. One there. That's it, is it? That's it. What do I want to do with these? They're so slow. They might be able to move 3. 1, 2, 3, or only 2. 1, 2. I'd like to be able to push in that direction, but I think that might just make me weaker. I think I want to get the rockets, for all they're worth, as near to here as possible. One 1.9, 1.6, something. I think I'm going to send these units up this road. We could attack this stack. We could possibly do that. I'm going to do that. We've got to win this battle. Hmm. Why am I having so much difficulty? Oh, this game is the technical term. Oh my god. The technical term for this is beyond description. I know why I had some difficulty, because I've put these in as insurgents and they're irregulars. What's this? Insurgent. Insurgent. Well, that makes I mean, the silver lining, of course, is now I know, and I can fix it, and I will do that now because I can fix it a lot easier than I used to be able to do these things. But I mean, that's it, you know, because I can't do that attack. You see, look, these are this. Uh, I'm gonna leave it at that. I'd have to review this situation, and when I'm say review it, what I mean is yeah, try and actually figure out what's going on because I can't remember. I can't remember the balance. You know, I can't remember whether this was sort of just them steamrolling over these positions or whether it was hard going or you know. I mean, is there are other things? Should they have more rockets? Should they put some engineers in there? You know, are there some things that I can do to change this? I quite like this, but I think that the Syrians have too much from a game balance perspective. But the thing is, I'd have to look into it and see whether or not that is really how it should be. Because there is a sort of a degree of where it should be a game with some game balance anyway, but not a game with game errors like this. You know, because I was really looking forward to doing that because I think if you look at the gameplay, it's almost the only thing that they can do. I mean, let's look at the odds. They would because they got six, two motorized units, so there's six. So we're only going to get ones. So we're 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that gives us 1 to 1 plus 10, 20, 30, 40, 40% more. So that would be 7. That would be 10. So it would still be 1 to 1. If we could get some other units in there, that might give us a 2 to 1. Possibly, or if we could get the spread around there. So we could have, if we could get that hex there, that would have given us the possibility on a DR of eliminating that stack. The only possibility there was. Okay, well I'm going to leave it at that. I will fix this game. Okay, cheerio.